Welcome to TTM Cast, your sports collectibles podcast.
Sponsored by CGC Cards, card grading all in one place. CGC Cards is devoted to expert grading of collectible cards, including TCGs, sports cards, and non-sports cards.
And by sportscollectorsdaily.com. If it happens in the hobby, you'll find it on sportscollectorsdaily.com. And sponsored by GemRate.com. The latest grading statistic from the 4 major grading companies is just a click away. Visit GemRate.com. It's free.
And now, here's our host, Drew Pelto.
Well, hello, everybody. We are coming to you once again here on TTM Cast, your sports collectibles podcast. It's a place where we talk TTM, cards, autographs, collecting, all kinds of stuff related to that, whatever else is on our minds too, but mostly all that kind of fun stuff. We're at season number 7, episode number 10. We're already in the double digits here for this season. Wow. And we're coming to you on March 22nd here with this nationally ranked sports collectibles podcast. March 22nd of 32 years ago was actually the day that Steve Ohl and Tim Cruz were killed in a boating accident in Florida as members of the Cleveland Indians. So, little memorial to them here to start things off very briefly. I am Drew Pelto. I'm the host of this show. I am joined by the co-host, Arron Littleton, coming to us from up in Wichita Falls, Texas. Arron, how are things going up there?
Wichita Falls still exists, so I guess I have no complaints.
That's good. It hasn't gotten blown away in any winds or anything like that, so that's a good sign at least. So got that going for you.
It has been terribly windy, yes, but apparently up in the Panhandle last weekend, there were like semis getting blown over on the highway. So yeah, stay safe out there, guys.
Yeah, our trash can got blown around a little bit on the porch here, so that's been fun. First world problems right there, because I mean, yeah, it's not a semi going off the road or anything at least, but yeah. Anyways, it is March, and what happens in March? March Madness. It is tournament time. We have kicked that off here this past week. Opening round games Thursday and Friday. Arron, did you fill out a bracket? Who do you have picked to go all the way in this, if you did?
You know, it's funny. I always watch March Madness, but I have never not once filled out a bracket. I'm very much a casual college basketball fan. I love basketball itself. I've played basketball most of my life. But as far as just like being hardcore and like following how it, which teams are the best and all of that, I've never really done that, but I do enjoy watching the games.
Okay, you don't really need to follow it that closely to fill out a bracket. Next year, we are getting you on a bracket because I'll tell you right now, I have filled out a bracket every year since I was in high school. Mm-hmm. And the number of games I watch from like November through early part of March is almost 0. So, I mean, anybody could basically can fill out a bracket. I mean, my wife does the same thing. She won't watch many games. She'll fill out a bracket every year now. So, yeah, we got it. We're getting you in on this next year. We are going to have you fill out a bracket the next year and just see how you do. Because, I mean, what happens if you are the one person ever to fill out a completely perfect bracket and you've skipped it all this time, Slim, but it's possible.
I mean,
Chances are slim, but it's possible.
I feel like you got kind of pie in the sky hopes for this.
Probably.
But okay, I'm in. All right, I've never really had the proper motivation, but I'll do it, I guess.
All right, I have Kentucky winning it all, which is probably a gigantic mistake, but I mean they're at least alive, which is better than my previous 2 years because last year I had Kentucky picked to win it all and they got bounced in the opening round. The year before that, I had number 1 Purdue winning it all, and they were the, I think, second ever 16-1 defeat to happen. So my previous 2 years have not been good. This year, though, all right, I've got 14 of 16 Sweet 16 teams still alive, and 7 of 8 Elite 8 teams still alive. My Final Four is intact, so that's better than those years. And I think it was maybe one of the 2 years before that, either 2022 or 2021, where I think by the Sweet 16, 3 of my 4 Final Four picks were already out. So I'm hanging in there right now. I'm still somewhat safe. So I'm hoping this continues. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I like seeing upsets. I actually predicted 2 of them correctly on my bracket. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. That's all I can really say.
Did you have McNeese State? Did you have that one?
One that I predicted correctly, yes.
Nice.
I have McNeese in my Sweet 16 even, so I need them to pull another upset here because I actually had them and High Point both pulling off upsets in that same area right there. So it's supposed to be a 13-12 matchup going on in this next round, and it's like, okay, that did not happen. I did at least get McNeese though, so hopefully they can continue that hot streak and move on to the Sweet 16 because I have them in there, and I'd like to see that continue.
Wow, so I mean that's pretty good work there, Drew. Congratulations.
Yeah. I mean, let me see what other ones did I get correct on the upsets. I had called North Carolina over Mississippi. That did not happen, unfortunately. I had VC over BYU, which did not happen. Well, I completely whiffed on the 2 10/7s in that area there. So, like, there was one 10/7. I had called Marquette, number 7, to beat New Mexico. They did not. I had called number 10, Vanderbilt, to beat St. Mary's, and they did not. But, like I said, I got McNeese right. I got Colorado State over Memphis in another 12/5. I missed out on Drake versus Missouri, and that is my one Elite 8 team that is out. I had Missouri going up against Maryland in the Elite 8. So, aside from that, I'm hanging in there all right. I'm right in the middle of the pack on the one that I have on the pick'em group that I have with a bunch of guys I went to high school with. So, I'm in good position right now, at least. I mean, if everything goes my way, I could hopefully shoot up the boards, or I could find myself close to dead last. I mean, it could go either way at this point. So, we'll see.
We'll have to have a bracket update next week.
Yes, absolutely. I will do that. Anyways, getting into the actual reason why we're here, all of collectibles and everything. So I mentioned last week that I had another eBay purchase that was on the way for my 21 Heritage set. I picked up Andrew Haney for that, which I had TTM'd Haney and never got it back, which is weird because he was very reliable all throughout the season last year. And never got mine back at all. So picking up, I think it was like $5 plus maybe $1 or $2 shipping and taxes, so nothing really too bad on the price there at least. I mentioned last week I was making a trade with Scott Rickerson, who I met out at spring training, and got those in. So Denny Savard autograph right there, and a signed Jeremy Roenick rookie card, so another one to add to the Hall of Fame rookies right there. I actually have the O-Pee-Chee one of this already signed, so I've got the O-Pee-Chee on the tops for that. So fun stuff right there. And lastly, this one, I know, Aaron, I texted you about this one, and I think Chris texted you about it as well. So our friend Chris, who's been on the show a couple of years ago, back when Jeff Baker was the host of it, he messaged me and said, hey, yeah, there's a signing going on at Eddie McDonald's around here with Steve Buechele and Pete Incaviglia. He said, it's right up the road from me. I'm probably going to go to it if you got any extra stuff. And I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll get you whatever I got here. And he showed up there like, it was, I think, from like 10 to 12 or something like that. He showed up at 10:20, and there was like nobody there. The few that arrived early had already gotten through the line. And so Buechele and Inky just like kind of sitting around like, yeah, hey, how's it going, guys? And literally signed everything for him. So I don't recommend people normally do this, but when you have a situation like this where, you know, they're there for 2 hours and there's nobody in line there, I had given Chris, I think, 12 cards of Steve Buechele. He had 3 of his own, and then 40-some cards of Pete Incaviglia, and both of them were like, yeah, sure, whatever. We'll go ahead and knock all these out just because, I mean, we're here for a while and nobody else is in line. So when you have a situation like that, you know, go for it. If it's, if you're one of about 200 people in line, do not go for that. But yeah, I ended up with several cards of both these guys. I think I've got 6 new cards of Buechele and 18 new cards of Pete Incaviglia all signed right here. So I may do a giveaway on some of those guys because, I mean, neither of them are particularly great TTMers. Incaviglia picked it up a little bit here in the last year, but still, I mean, it's been a while since he was a truly reliable TTMer. Buechele, I don't think, has ever really been reliable by mail. So I might have a giveaway here at some point. Maybe we'll do a giveaway next week on a couple of cards of each of those guys. So that's what I've gotten in this week. Getting ready for the first few games of the season as well. Of course, we've got Corpus Christi and Frisco be playing here in 2 weeks from now. So I know, Aaron, you and I are going to be going out to do that game. We've got some stuff in Cleburne coming up as well. So we'll keep everyone posted on that. But Aaron, what have you been up to? What have you added in here?
You know, it's funny you were talking about the Inky and Buechele thing. That reminds me of so when the Rangers were particularly terrible. I'm trying to remember what year it was. 2006, 5. It must have been like in there. Richard Hidalgo, who had gained a little bit of acclaim with the Houston Astros before he came to Arlington for a season.
Pretty home run guy with the Astros at one point too.
Yes, I believe. Yeah, and so anyway, yeah, he was hitting some bombs, and I mean, it was a notable signing that the Rangers had signed him at the time, And so they had him up in, I don't even remember the exact circumstances of the signing, but they did like a winter caravan signing, and it was supposed to be in Lawton, which is about 45 minutes, Lawton, Oklahoma, which is about 45 minutes north of Wichita Falls, where I'm at. And I'm like, sweet, Richard Hidalgo. I've never got him before. We'll go to Lawton. And then it's like we get to Lawton. It was supposed to be at this car dealership, and like I said, the exact it was kind of a weird thing, and the exact details of it are kind of fuzzy for me. But it's like we get to the car dealership, and we talked to the manager. It's like, oh, it was going to be here, but they moved it to Oklahoma City, which is about another hour and 15 minutes. And so me and my mom were like, 2005. I'm like, let me see here. I guess I would have been 23. No, I don't know how old I am. Anyway, yeah. So we, no, that's not true. I would have been 17. There you go. And so we
all major in math on this show, as you can all tell. So yeah.
Listen. I'm majored in communications, did not have to do math.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so we decided, okay, we're already this far, we might as well go to Oklahoma City. And so we did that. When we got there, there were seriously like 3 people in line, and I show up with like 20 Richard Hidalgo cards. And so we go through, and I was a good kid, and so I had my mom get one and I got one. And then we kind of sit down because we're like, I think this line is winding down. And it is, so sure enough, it wasn't like 15 minutes into the signing. He's just sitting there. Like, I mean, absolutely just sitting there talking to the staff, whatever. And so I go up and I'm like, would you mind signing the rest of these? He was like, yes, I will sign the rest of these. And so he just knocked them all out. So yeah, sometimes you get lucky and you get some unexpected autographs that way. But yeah, certainly I wouldn't be trying to drop a book of 20 on somebody in the middle of a huge line.
He's the anti-Carlos Baerga. I don't know if you went through his line at the All-Star game or not, but
I do remember the Baerga story, yeah.
Yeah, for anybody that didn't know about that one, at the All-Star game, Baerga was one of the signers they had there, and by the time I got over to his line, it was completely empty, and I went through, and I think I had like 6 cards down or something like that, and some of these guys were, hell, Pete O'Brien signed 8 for a friend of mine, turned the page on him without even being asked, and saw, oh, okay, you got more, I'll sign more, knocked out 16 for him. And this is where the line's still behind him. Pete's like, yeah, whatever, I'll get through everybody, I don't care. So Baerga's line is completely opposite. It's dead empty at this point. I go through, I have my 6 cards there, and I think he signed like 2 or 3 of them or something like that. So I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll go through the line again because there's nobody here. I go through the line again, and they're like, you were just up here. No, you cannot come through here. I'm like, you're here for another 10 minutes on the clock here, dude. I mean, there's nobody in line. You're really going to say no? And they're like, fine, go ahead. And I think he signed 2 more for me there. But it was just kind of bizarre that it's like, I mean, you're being paid to be there for 2 hours. It's not like I'm not going to turn around and sell a Carlos Baerga autograph for like $20 or anything like that. I mean, they're going into my own collection as a Cleveland Indians fan, a longtime Baerga fan, a guy who freaking went as Carlos Baerga on Halloween in 1992. I remember having the plastic mustache on there to go with it and everything. And yeah, and it's like, they're like, oh, no, you can't come through a second time. Like, every other line has no problem with it. Come on, really? So it's good to see at least a few guys like, Incaviglia, like Richard Hidalgo, like Buechele. We're all cool with it. So definitely good to see.
For sure. And so, sorry to answer, I got off on the tangent there to answer your actual question about what happened this week. Last week we went to the Dallas Card Show. It was spring break. This week, I paid for it because I got home and I get into the gym and people are just like, I need you to do this. I need you to do this. And so I spent most of my week doing crazy gym projects. I did get a few new Michaels in, none really of note. I guess the best, just filling in some holes in my collection. But the probably the best thing that I got was, so I've been kind of unofficially working on the 2023 Don Rush Sean Green set. And so Sean Green was one of my favorite players growing up. I had a cousin who was a Dodger fan. And so he kind of became my like surrogate Dodger favorite player, Sean Green. I would watch some games because of my cousin's fandom. And so in 2023, they released the Donruss set, and it has Sean Green as a Blue Jay, but at the ballpark in Arlington. The picture's at the ballpark in Arlington. And so I, having spent most of my youth at the ballpark in Arlington, I can tell when a picture is taken there almost instantly. And so I was like, man. And so right after the set came out, the 1-of-1 hit, and it wasn't super expensive. And so I bought it. And so I got in the artist proof number to 10 this week. And so now I have the 3 most rare cards in that set. And so now I'm officially ramping up my efforts to find the other ones. But have the 1-of-1, then I've got the number to 5 and the number to 10 now. So that's the most notable thing that happened to me in the hobby this week.
I do the same thing with photos that are taken in old Cleveland Stadium, too. I'll look at a card and you're like, Cleveland Stadium. So, yeah, I do the same thing as you do with Arlington there. Well, on this week's show, we've got Les Wolff joining us. We're going to talk football stuff, actually. I mean, most of the time we get Les going on with baseball. We got some football talk, though, about the Hall of Fame, about a few other things related to his New York Jets in there as well, and some ideas that he has for who he would like to see signing more at card shows, especially at the National, any other big shows like that. And Les always has his opinions on things like that, and hopefully the powers that be in the hobby listen to him, because he's got some good ones on this one. So make sure that you stick around for that. Before we get into more with Les, we'll have Baker's Dozen covering all the news in the hobby world, mostly upcoming shows and new card set releases. After we have Les on, we will talk Making the Grade, where we cover all things from the world of grading. Get the TTM Cast stamp of approval, where Aaron and I give our 2 thumbs up to something from the previous week. Could be just about anything. Sometimes sports related, sometimes it's not. We get the Vern Rap Minute, covering deaths in the world of sports, celebrity, music, movies, politics. Anybody that you might consider TTMing, if they have passed away, we will let you know about that. And of course, the main reason why this show exists, it is our TTM returns. And spoiler alert, this is another light week, and it's going to be good motivation for me to at least put pen to paper. So hopefully that gets me going here a bit here over the next couple of weeks. If you would like to get a hold of us, we have an email address. Aaron, what is that email address?
That email address is ttmcast@yahoo.com.
So feel free to send us any of your questions, comments, praise, hate mail, anything you've got like that. Send it our way. You can also follow us on Blue Sky at TTMcast and on Instagram at TTMcast as well. So shoot us a follow on those 2 platforms. If you'd like to get a hold of me directly, I am at dfwgrapher@gmail.com. My website is dfwgrapher.com. You can find me on Instagram and Blue Sky, also at dfwgrapher. Aaron, where can the people get a hold of you?
And so that would be mainly on Instagram. You can follow me at Arron Sports Card Explosion. That is Aaron, Arron, because that's how my parents decided to spell it. And if you want to follow my graphing chronicles of my quest to visit every affiliated ballpark, major and minor league, in the land, then you can follow me on the Eternal Graphing Tour. This year, we're going to be going to North Carolina, hit Maryland a little bit, all of that to make a big circle. So you can see all the crazy food I'm going to eat. And next year, you can be in for the completion of the trilogy with Drew of us going through for the national trip. So lots of fun stuff going on there. The Eternal Graphing Tour, and there is a underscore in between each of those words.
There you go. So if you've not shot us a follow yet, make sure you get on those places and do so on Instagram and Blue Sky. With that, let's go ahead and start this show up here with Baker's Dozen.
Baker's Dozen, sponsored by SportsCollectorsDaily.com.
Smart collectors turn to Sports Collectors Daily to stay up to date. From new releases to incredible collections hitting the auction block, news from inside the business of sports collectibles, and much more, Sports Collectors Daily has it, all with no subscription cost. SC Daily also delivers a live look at the most watched sports card auctions on eBay for every sport. Sign up to get the headlines in your email for free, or just visit the website whenever you like. With 16,000 stories in the archive going back 16 years, there is always plenty to read at SportsCollectorsDaily.com.
Baker's Dozen is a summary of all things in the world of collectibles news, mostly related to upcoming releases and some shows that may be in your area. First, I want to remind you, though, to check out sportscollectorsdaily.com. Rich Miller does some great work over there, along with all of his writing staff. I have an article there up every week as well, dedicated to TTMing and autographing. This one, talking about the preparation for the first series of a season, because this is always hell in the grapher's world, because if you're graphing a AAA, AA, A-ball team, you don't know who's going to be on the roster. They might not even tell you until maybe the first day before the games. I mean, I'm fully expecting that Frisco and Corpus Christi will drop their rosters on April 3rd, and the first game of the season is April 4th, as Aaron and I go to the game on April 6th. So we'll see what happens there, but I give some ideas on how to go about guessing who might be on that roster, and tell a little bit about who I've bought stuff and pulled stuff for on Frisco and Corpus, at least. So go and check that out, especially if you're a minor league grapher, and if you're not, well, I've got my TTM stuff on there, so check it out there as well. Once again, that is sportscollectorsdaily.com. Also want to remind you to check out the TTM Cast store. If you go to ttmcast.com, probably a place where you download the podcast here. If not, well, that is our website where we have it all, so check it out there. Up in the banner is the TTM Cast store. Get yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie, a hat, whole bunch of stuff on up there. Very affordable prices as well. T-shirts run typically $15, I think, is our cheapest shirt price there. Most of them are at $15. A little bit more expensive for the larger sizes. I think we've got one that's printed on both sides, so a little bit higher cost for that, but still very affordable. Go and check it out, ttmcast.com, up in the top banner. Let's move on and take a look at some upcoming releases here that we've got coming in the next week or so from all the major card creators. First off, of course, Topps, always putting stuff out right now. It is baseball season, so Series 1 baseball fun mega boxes are coming out on the 26th of March. In there, you're going to see 14 cards per pack with 16 packs per box. Each box will have 16 Stars of MLB inserts plus 8 confetti parallels and some other cool stuff in there as well. So check it out. It's going to be $60, the pre-sale price for that fun mega box.
We also have 2024 Panini Encore Football that drops on March the 26th. You'll get 6 cards per pack, 10 packs per box, 1 autograph, 1 memorabilia card, 10 inserts, and 4 numbered parallels in the mix. And the pre-sale price for that is $225.
One that gets the stamp of, geez, finally, you guys, is 2024 Topps Heritage High Numbers Baseball. That is last year's in the 75 design there that they finally have gotten the high numbers out. I'm not sure what the delay was on this. Usually those are out by maybe early to mid-November, and here we are in the end of March finally getting those out. I know there's probably a lot of Heritage collectors at spring training that are not very happy about the release date on this one, but coming on March 26th here this week, so just in time for the regular season to start. You'll see 9 cards per pack with 24 packs per box, 6 border variation cards per box, and 8 inserts per box as well. Pre-sale price on that one, $230.
And also we have 2025 Gold Rush Pack Attack Baseball that drops on March the 26th. You'll get 10 assorted packs per box. They've got several years and a variety of past products, and the pre-sale price on that is $50.
If you like complete sets, if you're a football collector, we've got the 2024 Donruss Football Factory set coming out. March 28th will be the release date on that. That is next Friday. 405 card complete set is what you're going to see in that box. And it's going to come with 5 Donruss Optic rated rookie preview hollows. So sounds like some cool stuff going on there. I've not had a chance to take a look at those at all, but Optic's always a fun one for the rookies there. Pre-sale price, $120.
And then lastly, for card releases, we have 2024 Leaf Futures Multisport, which drops on March the 28th. You'll get 4 cards per pack, 6 packs per box, 6 autos per box, and the pre-sale price for that is $160.
Well, if any of those products sound good to you, check out a show near you. We've got a lot that we're talking about here, about 2 weeks out on each of these ones, but some major ones around the country going on, starting with one not too far from us here in Texas. It's the Texas Sports Hall of Fame card show. That's on April 4th through the 5th. Autographs Inc. is running that one. They're a company up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Signers of that show, it's going to include Frank Pollard, Greg Hawthorne, and Ricky Thompson. If you want more info on that, check out their website at theautographsinc.com. That is Inc. spelled I-N-K, as in the stuff you write with, not incorporated.
I didn't know where you were going with that. I was like, that's how you spell ink.
Well, I mean, people are going to think like INC dot, so I had to clarify that. So
Okay, I understand now, but when you first said it, I was like, I'm not sure what's happening right now. We're just spelling random words.
Yes. We're having a spelling bee later on in the show, just to warn you. So yeah, I'm just preparing for that.
Okay, sounds good. I'm ready. We also have the Chantilly show, which is going on April 4th through the 6th at Dulles Expo Center in Chantilly, Virginia. The admission fee is $15, but they've got a staggering 66 signers in baseball and football going to be there, and 30 Hall of Famers. Man, so go check that out. You can find more information on that at csashows.com.
Got a show going on in New Jersey, simply called the New Jersey Show. That'll be on April 4th through the 6th as well. It's up at the New Jersey Convention and Expo Center. Admission to that one, $15. You have 44 signers there across 4 sports, including 20 Hall of Famers. So try to compete with that Chantilly show, it looks like there's those two. Not too far apart, actually. I mean, it's a short drive or train ride between the D.C. area and up to New Jersey there. If you want info on tickets for that one, it's at the New Jersey Expo and Convention Center, or Convention Expo Center. You can find out at ShowClix, CLIX.com.
And then we also have the New Orleans show that's going on April 4th through the 6th at the Smoothie King Center in downtown New Orleans. Admission is $20 for that show. The show has been moved from the Saints practice facility. It's crazy. The Saints practice facility, I actually went there in New Orleans when we went to the Baby Cakes game. It's like right across the street. So I've got a little bit of knowledge of that area, and they will have 7 signers there from the Saints and LSU. For more information about that, you can check out NOLACardConvention.com.
Yeah, it's funny. I just happened to see a Facebook post saying, bad news. We've had to move this from the Saints practice facility. Apparently, they cannot have a for-profit show in the Saints practice facility. There's some kind of state regulation against that. And it's like, that's weird, but okay. So, yeah, it's putting it at the NBA arena there. They say it might be the first ever show taking place at an active NBA arena. So that's kind of cool there. If you're up in Michigan, go and check out the Taylor Town Center show, April 5th through the 6th. To the Taylor Town Trade Center in Taylor, Michigan. Free admission and free parking on this one. 2 autograph signers there. They're going to have former hockey player Jimmy Carson and I believe basketball player Terry Mills. $10 each for their signing fees. If you want to get more info on that, check out Joe Manzella Sports Cards on Facebook.
And then we also have the Orlando Garden Show, which is going on April the 6th. At Orlando Gardens Mall in St. Louis. That one always gets me. Orlando and St. Louis. And that admission for that is $3. They'll have Jim Cott, Chili Davis, Gary Unger, and Jim Martin signing there. For more information about that, you can check out stlsportscollectors.com.
I believe they also have mail-ins for it as well. So if there's anybody who can't get there, you got a chance to get those guys if you need them. Lastly, up in Massachusetts, the Methuen Card Show will be on April the 6th. It's at VFW Hall number 8349 in Methuen, Mass. $2 admission cost on that. Former Boston Bruin Don Marcotte will be signing autographs there. $15 fee to get him. You can check out more info on that show and all the other ones that they run at cardshows.net. Well, that about does it for Baker's Dozen. Let's move on in now to more from Les.
And now it's time for More from Les with hobby legend Les Wolff.
It's football season. There's no better time to get your NFL stars, rookies, and veteran cards graded. CGC Cards offers fast turnaround times so you get your cards back even faster. They have crystal clear holders so your cards shine. And best yet, all starting at just $12 a card. Head to cgccards.com to start grading your cards today.
Hobby guru Les Wolff joins us typically every month here on the show, and this month we get some football news with him because, we've got Football Hall of Fame stuff we didn't get a chance to cover last month at all when we weren't quite able to get him in on the schedule there, but we get his thoughts on Football Hall of Fame here for this year and some Jets news as well, and just some of his thoughts on how to improve card show signing. So we talk a little bit about what's upcoming for this year's National in Chicago. So without further ado, here's Les Wolff. Well, we are joined here in More with Les as we have Les Wolff joining us from out in New York. First off, Les, good to have you back on. It's been a couple months since we've had you on here. So first off, great to have you back here as always.
Thanks, as always. Pleasure to be back.
Yeah. Of course, we got NCAA basketball starting the tournament here today. Do you do a bracket at all? Do you have any predictions on it at all or anything like that?
Actually, I'm not too good at the brackets. I always pick teams that I like. I mean, this year's going to be tough to beat Duke with Cooper Flag,
Yeah.
but I don't see them winning at all. I don't know. It's basically, I always say it's like a crapshoot because you never know. So I mean, I'll watch a little, but I don't care that much.
Yeah. I fill out a bracket every year, but I'm like you. I don't really do well. I know 2 years ago I had Purdue picked to win it all, and they were the first. They got knocked out the first day. It was 16-01 there. So I'm like, I'm never putting any money in on this. I can tell you that much.
There's always a lot of upsets, so it's very difficult.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to watch. At least so we got that going for it.
So I read this stuff that you did for spring training. It looks like you had a good time for spring training.
I did. Yeah, I got nearly 700 cards signed while I was out there, so pretty happy with that. And I mean, I won't be able to go next year at all because I got my road trip in the summer going on. But hopefully, 2027, I got some ideas on what to do for that one. So we'll see how that goes at least.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So just looking around at some stuff here, I was last month we weren't able to get you on. It was right after the Football Hall of Fame announced their picks this year, and it's funny. I remember talking back when we were talking about some stuff in January. We were both like, "Oh yeah, I mean Eli Manning, he'll be getting in this year," and somehow the Hall of Fame did not pick Eli Manning. Are you as shocked by this as I am?
Well, I'm a hopeless Jet fan. I don't root against the Giants,
Right.
but I do think that he should have gotten in. I think eventually he will get in because he's the only two-time winner, to be MVP twice like that. And he had good teams, and he got lucky, but they still won with him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I think he'll definitely get in eventually.
Yeah. Kind of a underwhelming class here this year, it seems. I mean, Eric Allen, Jared Allen, two defensive guys that lead things off right there. Antonio Gates, which I think everyone thought he was going to get in, and Sterling Sharp, who I thought I thought he was always vastly underrated, who deserved to be in for a long time. So I'm glad to see him get it at least.
Mm-hmm.
Any thoughts on what this is going to do for the hobby? Because it's like this is just I don't know, it's kind of underwhelming. It's the best word I think.
I think the interesting thing with the football and all the Hall of Fames is they're only making money when guys get in. And I personally have always said that the Hall of Fame should be, only for the guys, the top of the top.
Mm-hmm.
Like the Joe Montanas, the Tom Brady's, the Willie Mays', Mickey Mantle,
Right.
Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, Michael Jordan. Those guys should get in because they'd be the first-time ballots. But when you have to stretch it out and, like a guy like Billy Wagner's got to wait 5 years till he gets in and just barely gets in by the skin of his teeth, I think it oversaturates the Hall of Fame, and I think it just dilutes it to the point that it's really not fun, to even watch the votes.
Yeah.
Because you're allowing guys that they had decent careers, but were they the best of the best? No, not at all. They were just, some of them just got in because of weak years. When it was weak Hall of Fame, there weren't the Albert Pujols or the guys like that should get in, that were eligible. So I felt that way for a long time. I think years ago, I once selected for baseball. I once looked up how many guys were selected as opposed to elected. And if you look at the numbers, it's just crazy. There's a crazy disparity on the guys that got selected, from old timers committees and these votes. That's also another travesty for sports. But the Hall of Fame, all the Hall of Fames don't make money unless guys get in because they have people to come to the events and spend money for autographs and travel down. So I personally think that should change one day, but I don't think it'll ever change in my lifetime.
Yeah. Football's kind of a weird one too, because I know for a long time it was something like they had to put in 4 or 5 or 6, whatever it was, players every single year, no matter what. And so it can be kind of good sometimes because, guys like offensive linemen don't tend to get noticed much. Guys like, the kickers and punters don't. But at the same time, you end up getting, some of these guys in there that, you just mentioned that just, I don't know if they really belong.
Actually, may he rest in peace, Ray Guy. I met him years ago at a boys club dinner, and he wasn't in the Hall of Fame at the time. And I had a nice, interesting conversation with him. I said, You train like all the other players. You're in great shape. You're the best punter ever. Why aren't you in the Hall of Fame? There's no reason why he wasn't in Hall of Fame then. Now he's in, but guys like that, who's the best at their positions, should be in. Period.
Yeah.
Larry Allen was decent. The other Allen, Jared Allen, was good, but do they deserve to be in? Not in my opinion. I don't think so. But no offense to those guys, they got in, but it's all about the money. Look at the Celtics. The Celtics got sold for billions of dollars now, which is crazy. Their owners paid like 100 or 200 million, and they sold it for 6.1 billion. I mean, it's a crazy business we're in now, sports.
Yeah, I didn't even know they were up for sale. Friend, I mentioned it this morning. He texted me. He's like, "Did you know the Celtics were for sale?" I'm like, "I guess anything's for sale for the right price." But yeah, that took me by surprise for sure.
And also another interesting thing I just saw. Fanatics had their best ever as far as apparel and cards and memorabilia for the Tokyo trip.
Wow.
That just ended. They did $40 million. I mean, when you hear those kind of things, it's kind of staggering. International. I think my prediction within the next 5 years, you're going to see professional baseball in a bunch of different countries. And Japan will definitely be up there, and China, they'll be up there, some of the teams. And I think that'll be good and bad. Yeah. I mean, it'll be bad because, how are you going to stay up to watch your team in China or Japan with all those crazy time differences? And how are the players going to acclimate? You're going to have to, the time differences and the different stadiums and everything. But I think it's going to become international baseball.
Yeah. I mean, you're already seeing it with football with the games over in Europe there where, we're having to get up at 8 a.m. on a Sunday to watch the Browns play the Jaguars this year.
Yeah, I mean that's fun and everything, but I think one day also there'll be football teams in all over the world.
Mm-hmm. I like when they did. I was always a big fan of NFL Europe and the WLAF when that was around, but it just gets to be so complicated there when you get the travel involved and all that. I know that's why with the of course the World League became NFL Europe. And they kept it to just Europe after that because, 2 years of American teams having to travel over there just messed everybody up. So, yeah, that's it kind of messed with the fans quite a bit there, too, like you said, too.
Yeah, but I think that is the future because you want to optimize the money that you'll make. Yep. When you hear it, here Fanatics do 40 million. Imagine what teams would be doing there. I mean, don't they have to share the concessions and all the other stuff in different countries? So it'd be interesting.
Yeah. Speaking of, because you mentioned the Jets there a minute ago, being a fan of them, Aaron Rodgers is a free agent, of course, after his questionable tenure there with them. Any thoughts on him? What would be best for him to do right now at this point in his career? I mean, he's 40 years old. He's got probably Hall of Fame stats at this point. Is it time for him to hang it up, or do you think he should go for one more team here and try to get one more championship?
First of all, being a Jet fan, Justin Fields is an okay pick and everything, but you know as well as I, and I'm sure the Jets do also, that they're not winning anything with Justin Fields. Yeah. They weren't winning anything with Aaron Rodgers either. I think Rodgers is just hanging on. If I were him, I would just retire. But if someone's going to be stupid enough to pay him another 40 million or 30 million or even 25 million, God bless the man. He didn't look too bad in his last couple of games with the Jets, but I don't know. I don't think he's physically prepared to pay a full season. I don't think, the teams. What are the Giants going to take him? He's going to do nothing with the Giants. Was it the Giants and the Vikings? No, the Vikings are out now, right? Because they got J.J. McCarthy. What was the other team that's involved?
I know the Steelers were interested for a bit, but I don't know if they still
and the
are.
Giants.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know why the Steelers didn't just re-sign Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I mean, the Giants will probably pick one of those two to be their quarterback. But if I were the Giants, I would just draft another quarterback and develop him. Just, you're going to have a lousy year anyway. Why spend all that money on a guy like Aaron Rodgers or even Russell Wilson?
Yeah. Mentioned the Jets fans, thinking they're about a quarterback away, basically, and Browns fans seem to be kind of the same way, too, where it's like, now we got a lot bigger holes. Aaron Rodgers is not going to help that out much at all, but looking at the NFL draft, did any of those quarterback prospects, you think anything is going to come of any of those guys at all, or are we just kind of looking at a real off year for that?
It's interesting. Um, Football and basketball and somewhat hockey. Usually, the first round picks, those guys turn out to be superstars.
Mm-hmm.
But usually, but I think more so in football that a lot of the first round picks turn out to be busts.
Yeah.
So, the Ryan Leafs and those kind of guys. You got to get really lucky with those guys.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see an update done. ESPN did a study a few years ago, and something like 52% of first round quarterbacks turn out to be busts, whereas the safe pick in the first round, 90% of safeties go on to decent careers there if they're a first round pick, which, I mean, it's not really a sexy pick, but hey, it helps your team out, I guess.
Hey, look at my Jets. We picked Mekhi Becton so high up, goes to the Eagles, wins the Super Bowl, and he's like an all pro.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of my Jets, focusing on trying to get the best quarterback or anything, they should be trying to get the best coaches. I mean, I would do anything for them to somehow sign away the offensive line coach for the Eagles, because look what he did with Mekhi Becton.
Yep. Be an interesting season for sure, and we're just now getting into the start of it. So definitely keeping our eye on that here over the next couple of months here. But
oh, definitely.
Yeah. Started getting some national news coming out. Started announcing a lot of the autograph guests. I think 53 total on the list so far. Don't know if you had a chance to look through any of those, but if you have any particular guest names that really strike your fancy there that are good ones you don't see very often.
Not really. I didn't see any. I personally, I used to do the Philly show. Bob Schmier, who a lot of old timers will remember. He was like the Gloria Rothstein of Philadelphia. He used to run the shows, but he'd have one or two guests, and it'd be guys that didn't do many shows. He'd only charge like $3 extra for autographs. After the first one was free for anybody that was coming to the show or was set up at the show. And what it did was mainly kept the money in the room with the dealers. It didn't focus in on the money going from the dealers to the players. And I think that old school way that Bob did it was the right way, and he ran a very strict show. But to me, that was better than the national, that show, because you'd always go there and you see only vintage stuff there.
Yeah.
I mean, nowadays the national, you have these breakers and all this new crap there.
Yeah.
I think instead of having like 5,000 dealers, like they like, it's crazy if you can't even walk the whole show anymore in a day. It takes you a couple of days to do it. I think we should go back to the Bob Schmier way to have some vintage dealers, cut down on the autograph guests, and just, I'm sure Jeff Rosenberg would hate me for saying that, but only have a select few of the guests.
Yeah.
Have like guys that never did a show, or guys that are very collectible, have them do the show. Limit the amount of people and keep more money in the room for the dealers.
I like that idea there. I mean, especially when you look at the national, you see, there's a lot of guys that are the same ones every single year. You're always going to see Barry Sanders there. You're always going to see, Dan Marino, guys like that. Yeah, open up a little bit to some of the rare guys. I really like that, and hopefully they'll take your thoughts on that there. But keep an eye out on just some of the local shows there too. I know there's actually a Michigan one they'll probably be mentioning here in the next couple of weeks on the show there. They've got, they brought out like Mickey Lolich there which, I mean, he's a good TTMer and everything. Doesn't do a whole ton of shows anymore, but he's going to be out there. Willie Horton's the same way. Doesn't TTM, doesn't do shows anymore, but he's going to be out there for that one. Guys like that would really help out, I think, on a lot of things.
And I also think they should also, focus in on trying to get like the high draft picks
Yes.
in each sport and try to get them to do their first show. Like for example, I'm sure that Victor Wembanyama, if he did a show, that would draw a lot of people, and he's hurt right now, he can't even play, but have him do a show. This, so you'll get a different audience there, and I think that's what we really need to do.
Especially with NIL being a thing now, where these college athletes can actually get paid for doing this stuff. Why not get some of them on there? I mean, there's so many guys that Ohio State has 3 really great quarterbacks that are going to be playing for them in the next couple of years. Maybe not grab one of them for Chicago there, but if there's ever a show in Cleveland or something like that again, put them at one of those ones.
Or have Arch Manning do a show.
There
Have
you go.
Arch Manning do it with his uncle Peyton and his grandfather Archie and
There you
Eli.
go.
Have the
Yeah.
Manning show.
3 generations all right
You
there.
know, that would be something different.
Yeah.
Instead of having the same, like you said, same Barry Sanderses,
Hmm.
and guys like that have done a million shows.
Yeah. So speaking of shows, any cool ones you've been out to lately? I know there've been a couple of White Plains ones here recently. Any that you've been out to recently? Any that you're setting up here in the next few months or
I'll be
so?
setting up at Hofstra.
All right.
Jimmy Ryan sold the show, as a lot of people know.
Yeah.
We have Vincent from Lucky's. He's running the show. Hopefully, he'll do a good job. That's
Hmm.
the only thing we can hope for. The good thing, he's a young kid. He's got some good ideas, and hopefully, he could turn it around and and make it bigger and better. I mean,
Yeah.
that's the hope. Some of the guests that that he's having for the Westchester show and some of the ones for the Hofstra show, it's different sports he's doing, which is an interesting idea. We have a lot of NBA Hall of Famers like Dave Bing is coming to Philadelphia, George Gervin, which is good. But like I said before, we need to have the guys like a Victor Wembanyama, somebody, or
Yeah.
Zion Williamson, guys that have never really done many shows. And I think that should be the focus than having the same guys day in and day out, or have the average guys. Roy White, who's a dear friend of mine. Let him live and be well. But do you need to have him do a show? He
Right.
answers his mail. You throw him some money. He's a good guy, great guy. But you need more of a drawer. Like maybe a Jason Giambi who doesn't do too many shows.
Yeah. There you go.
Guys like that, and he doesn't answer his mail. So that's just my belief.
I mean, Giambi's got appeal all over the country too. I mean, he's a Yankee. He was an A. Spent a little bit of time in Cleveland, and a couple other places, Colorado. So there's always going to be a fan of him somewhere out there, all over the country. So yeah, that would be a great one to put in.
I mean, I think I saw he's doing a show. I forgot
Mhm.
where, but I don't think he's doing it in New York. He's
Yeah.
doing it in New Jersey, rather. But
Okay.
I think that that guys like that should be coming to Hofstra. Should be traveling around a little bit. But
Yeah.
who am I? I'm only just a little dealer. Just have my 2 cents. And I think that we need to do change the momentum of these shows and who's going to be there.
Mhm.
And
Definitely
hopefully this
agree with
kid
you.
Hopefully Vincent can do that. You never know.
Yeah. Definitely be keeping an eye out there on the Hostro show that are upcoming there. But any cool pickups you've had here recently at all? Any fun finds or anything?
I don't know if I mentioned it. I got another 200 baseball collection with a nice Michael Jordan signed ball in there.
Nice.
Nice vintage, a real Jordan autograph. Walter Alston, but it has Ben Wade also on there. Um, I got a nice Mantle Ball Hall of Fame '74. I just got in. I've been buying a bunch of collections.
Nice.
I looked at a couple of collections, made some offers, and a collector actually. I did it with a car dealer, a friend of mine. It took me about 4 years to get in to see this collection,
Mhm.
and we got blown out of the water. He got blown out on the cards. I don't know about how the autographs are going to be, but it was like 3 times what his offer was. But I said, if the guy did that, he's got to be a collector, so he's paying close to retail on it. So the people were lucky. As far as the autograph, I'm still waiting. The guy's going to go back. But there's a caveat in that collection. There's a ton of stuff that's not authenticated, and a
Mhm.
lot of stuff is not authentic, period.
Yeah.
So that's the way it goes with collections like that. Any big collection, if the guy didn't get everything in person, there's always going to be questionable stuff.
Yeah.
And nowadays with the Upper Deck and the Steiner and all those companies getting their stickers and their holograms stolen,
Mhm.
all those man and woman, they got busted, I think, in Philly with
Yeah.
all the machines that was selling everything, and it was the Kelsey. They did with Kelsey also. They forged a
Oh
ton of.
yeah, that's right.
I think with all that, that's one thing that this hobby cannot use, and we can't handle that. I think another thing there should be, whether it be cards and autographs or both, there should be, besides being companies that authenticate, there should be companies or groups of people that police the industry that
Mhm.
can warn people for that. I mean, you have Nick Key has Out and Safe. I don't know if you're familiar with him on
Yes.
Facebook. Uh, you know, He does a fantastic job on there, and I think there should be more people like that to let people know,
Mhm.
what's going on, and to say, because there's a lot of money that's getting thrown away by the average collector that buys stuff, buys it for their kid. I mean, I looked at a neighbor's collection, and he had a bunch of they had Kobe's and LeBrons, and he bought them 20, 30 years ago, and now he
Mhm.
wants to sell them, and he calls me in and wants me to buy them. I said, I'm sorry, they're not authentic.
Yeah.
You got to try to get your money back. Most of the time, most of those people, are not around, they're not alive, or they're not in business anymore. So we really need to have like some kind of governing body that could really police the shows, walk around. Okay, Joe, you sit up here, you got some beautiful stuff, but that Mickey Mantle there, that Babe Ruth there, sorry to sell you, that's not authentic.
Yep.
Oh, but my friend's grandfather got a sign. It's not authentic. Take it off your table.
Yep.
And that by doing things like that, you're helping the new collector that comes in there to not get beat by that. And I
Yep.
think that's another important thing that's overlooked. As this hot business, I still think of it as a hobby and a business, but as this business expands, we need to really look out for the future of the business.
Yes.
Stop trying to make the last penny, the last dollar on it. You gotta police it and make sure everything in there is authentic.
Yeah. And unfortunately, it can happen with collections of any size too. I remember going to an estate sale a couple of years ago. I bought, I think, like 4 signed pucks out of there, and 3 of them are good. One of them's no good. So, I mean, it can happen something that size, even something like mainline autographs out of Pittsburgh, I think it was. Looking through their stuff at the National, I came across a bunch of Mike Madonna autographs in there, and I went to the guy and said, look, these ones right here are good. These ones, though, check the difference there. Those ones are no good because, I mean, Madonna was very famous for having a family member sign a lot of his mail, and it's very easy to tell, fortunately, because the M in the fake signatures is very rounded on the top, whereas his M's are always very pointy. So it's like, I mean, you never know what you're going to find, even in some of the biggest and best collections, even some of the smallest collections.
Yeah, Candido guys, they're good guys in mainline.
Yeah.
Long time collectors, long time dealers.
Mhm.
But we all make mistakes.
Exactly. I mean, there's even stuff from Steiner that I've seen up there that I'm like, I'm not sure about that, but stuff slips through every now and then. Just so you know.
Steiner, the main thing is someone got a hold of his holograms and his
Oh, yeah,
cards
that too.
and started selling them with bad, putting them on bad stuff.
Right.
Usually used to be Upper Deck or Steiner or even JSA or PSA. Sometimes people forge their stickers and their cards,
Yeah.
and people get fooled by it.
Yep.
They'll keep on selling it to people, not knowing that it's not authentic and it's going to come back to bite them.
Yep. Ultimately, just know your stuff, research it yourself as much as you can before you go buying it. That's all I can really say at this point, unfortunately.
I mean, basically, you got to stick to tried and true companies. You can't go to
Yep.
ABC Authentication. You just got to go to JSA. You got to go to Jimmy.
Yeah.
Jimmy stands by what he does. He does a phenomenal job. He's a little slow with his letters, but he does a great job. I mean, I've known Jimmy since when he used to do framing. He'd sell autographs and frame stuff for you.
Yeah.
I'm very happy for him and only the best. And he's a great family business the way he's set up and his customer care, and the way he takes care of his customers. Bigger companies like Beckett and PSA should look at Jimmy and take an example on that, and
Absolutely.
treat their customers as good as Jimmy does.
Yeah. So once again, Les Wolff joining us here. Les, give everyone a rundown where they can find you online, how they can get a hold of you if they've got any collectibles questions.
Well, my email is lwolf, WOLFF 1823 at AOL. You want to see some of the stuff I'm selling? You can always go to eBay. Sports Autographs, SPORTZ, AUTOGRAPHZ. You can go to my website, LesWolffSportsLLC.com, and that's Wolf with 2 Fs. But actually, I still miss this the most. You can always call me, 516-933-7787. Because believe it or not, the sales are nice, but talking to old-time collectors or present collectors and hearing their stories, it's still the life basis of our collecting. And reading what you mentioned in your articles about spring training and the recent one you just that came out today, where you say you're basically like a scout trying to find out where these guys are, what teams they're on, and what they're gonna make AAA, they're gonna make the majors, that kind of stuff is a lot of fun, and that's what collecting's all about, you know. It's the hunt and getting those guys. I mean, the Yankees got this guy George Lombard. If I were the Yankees, 19 years old, I don't care. I would have brought him up and let him play third base.
Wow.
Give him a chance. I mean, that's what sports is all about, giving these young kids a chance to see if they can excel.
Yeah. So there you go. Once again, Les Wolff joining us here for this month. Any other thoughts before we go ahead and move on in the show here?
I think another thing that, and I teach that class about how to collect, invest, but protect and preserve your memorabilia. I'm still finding a lot of people are not taking care of their autographs. They're not storing it correctly. They're not insuring it. They're not, they're just, they just put it in a box and don't take care of it and don't care about it. And I think a lot's to be said. All the money that we spend to buy these cards and get these autographs, it's a lot of fun and joy, but we got to take care of them. And you can't just always look for the quick buck, like the kid that traded jerseys with Wembayama, and the next thing you know, his father put it in an auction, and Wembayama was really upset about that, and I don't blame him. You got a little kid that traded his little jersey to Wembayama for a game used jersey. Let the kid keep it. Don't, and that's one of the biggest things that I think that's a problem. I know when my kids were little, we'd go to all the stadiums, which I've done every one, and we'd get autographs, and I tell them, keep all the autographs you get. I don't want any of them. I just want you to start your collection. And they started a collection. Some, my older one's collection is a little better than my younger one, but it's still, they have a basis of a collection. And that's the fun part. Whether or not they'll continue it, my older one might a little bit. My younger one, not really that interested in it, but that's what we need to do. We need to teach our kids and our, nephews, cousins, relatives, more to collect to enjoy, not for the dollar all the time. Like the Wembayama, the father that sold the jersey, it was like $100,000. Forget about it. Unless you really need the money, it's desperate. Let the kid keep that thing. I mean, that's crazy, but who am I to say anything?
Well, there you go. Maybe next month we should do a recap or refresher course a little bit on protecting your autograph investments. I know we've done on a couple of years ago that I know you've done you did a show on here with it, but maybe a little refresher course. We'll do that next month.
Well, I did with Jeff Jeff Baker. We did he did an article we in the SCD, and it went over a lot of the things, because I got to tell you, every collection I go to, a lot of stuff gets ruined because it's not properly protected.
Yes. That's what we'll do for April.
I mean, I just looked at a collection. A guy called me, a referral. I went, and a lot of his stuff it's all over his office. A lot of stuff was faded badly.
Yeah. So
he asked me, aren't you interested in that or that? I said, look at it. Your autographs are just about gone. Wrong framing, wrong lighting, wrong temperature. These people just look at it. They don't, even though they walk by it every day, they're not really analyzing that they should take it off the wall, put the proper glass on it, and take care of it. But
yeah,
take a look at your own collection. Every now and then go through your books and stuff. Sometimes they may stick to the plastic sheet, or may get a little warped or something. You got to take care of them.
Yeah, exactly. We'll talk about that in April. Then we'll get another refresher for everyone on that. So.
Sure. And if anybody has any stuff they want me to give them my opinion, what I think it might be worth, just send it on down to Drew, and we're happy to help you.
Yeah, we'll get another appraisal show here coming up some point as well. So lots of stuff on the way here in the next couple of months here when we are rejoined by Les once again.
Sounds good.
And a big thanks once again to Les for joining us here in our monthly More From Les segment. We'll be talking with him again next month. And like we said there, we might talk a little bit about kind of give a refresher on best ways to preserve items in your collection, just to make sure to keep them in the best condition possible. Because, I mean, let's be honest, we've all got items we look at and we go, oh, man, yeah, I should have done better with that one. I've got a couple of photos that have faded. I'm sure, Aaron, you've got a few items here and there that you look at and go, oof, yeah, that wasn't the best. But we'll talk a little about less about how to make the most of all those kinds of things and keep them safe for you. Right now, let's move on into making the grade.
Making the Grade is sponsored by CGC Cards. All card grading, all in one place. Certified Guarantee Company, CGC, devoted to the expert grading of collectible cards. Visit cgccards.com today.
Making the Grade is a summary of all things in the grading portion of our hobby. The big four companies here have their numbers that get put out every week, and GemRate puts all that together for us. And we've got it all summarized right here for you. Aaron, what do we got from those big four companies?
So for the week of March 10th through the 16th, PSA graded 332.9 thousand card, which is down just a tick, 1%. You got CGC that graded 52.3 thousand cards, which is down 30%. SGC graded 38.4 thousand cards, which is down 14%. And Beckett, to round it out, graded 10.2 thousand cards, which is down 6%. All in all, there were 433.8 thousand cards that were graded the week of March the 10th through the 16th.
But still always just a mind-blowing number to me. Even though we haven't hit the 500,000 number here in a couple of weeks, still just, my God, how do you do that, guys? That's incredible. So
Lots of slabs.
yes. The plastic creation market out there is booming, I'm sure, just keeping this alive. So yeah. Anyways, let's take a look at this week's Big Three.
This week's Big Three is brought to you by GemRate.com. Whose cards are hot and whose cards are cold this week? Let's find out from our friends at GemRate.com.
The Big Three comes to us courtesy of GemRate.com. They give us the numbers there on the rundowns of all the companies, and they do the Big Three exclusively for TTM Cast. You will find these numbers in no other place. Moving on up the charts, this gives us a chance to look at individual players and how they're kind of trending in the hobby. But moving up the charts, Erling Haaland in the soccer world is our big winner this week. He is up 82% on his grading numbers. Tim Duncan seeing a big rise as well, up 67%. And rounding out that the number 3 spot is Lane Hudson, a 66% increase on his. Just in time for March Madness, Cooper Flagg's 2024 Bowman You Now card was this week's number 1 card, 800 copies graded between those big four grading companies. So I'm sure we'll be seeing his name up on the rising chart here again soon. I remember seeing it a couple weeks or months ago, and I'm sure he'll be coming up here again pretty soon. So keep an eye out for him on there. Meanwhile, on the other end, who is moving down the list here this week, Aaron?
So we have Aaron Rodgers, who is down 21%. Giannis Antetokounmpo is down 33%. And lastly, Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson is down 37% this week.
So there you go, a little mix of football and basketball there. Not too surprised to see Aaron Rodgers falling there, as we had talked about him a little bit there with Les Wolff. And I think the kind of wishy-washiness about what he's going to do here next in his career might be kind of affecting that a little bit. So we'll see where he ends up. Aaron, any predictions on where Rodgers is going to go at all? Any thoughts on that? I know Jets have already said, he's gone. And there's still some free agent talk as to where he's going to go. And for anybody who didn't hear the interview there, I know, Aaron, you haven't listened to it yet because we're recording this live before anybody's had a chance to, but let's see the opinion is like maybe it might be about time for him to go ahead and hang him up and retire here. So any thoughts of your own on him at all there?
Well, I hear that flag football is in the Olympics next time. he might be looking for a spot with that team. No, I have no idea.
that might actually work out. I mean, I know there are some retired hockey players or especially retired minor league guys who go out and play for like the U.S. national roller hockey team or whatever. So, hey, why not throw Aaron Rodgers on the flag football team? Is there anything that says he can't? I don't know. I'll have to look and see what the regulations are on flag football for it. So there you go. Well, that is this week's Making the Grade with the Big Three, courtesy of GemRate. You can follow them on all social media at GemRate. If you want to really dig deep into the numbers, go check out GemRate.com. They have a lot of very interesting statistics on there about grading in this hobby. Right now, let's take a look at this week's TTM Cast stamp of approval.
I bet you're wondering who earned this week's TTM Cast stamp of approval.
Well, stamp of approval just gives us a chance to give our thumbs up to something, anything from the previous week. Sometimes it's sports related, sometimes collectibles related. Oftentimes it's not. We do a lot of food stuff on here because, for God's sake, look at me. So I'm going to start with mine, and it is food, as one might expect. And it's the season of Lent for those of you out there who are of the Christian tradition and doing your fasting. And if you're a Catholic especially, it's no meat on Fridays, and I believe even like maybe sometimes a full day's fasting on Fridays for some of them out there. I'm not going to get into like all the specifics there, but at least, I mean, that's kind of well known. At least those are a thing. And to go along with that, a lot of Catholic churches will offer fish fries on Fridays, where they will have a big fish fry and have all the fixings along with it for a very affordable price. Sometimes, like $10 or $15 or so. And my wife and I went to one this past weekend on Friday at just yesterday, I guess it would be, because we're recording this on the weekend. I'm thinking right now. And we went to a St. Vincent de Paul church over in Arlington, kind of on the southwestern part of the city there. They had, I believe it was pollock that was breaded and fried with fries, coleslaw, macaroni and cheese, all that for only $10. Very nicely filling. So had that. And they had a cake for sale as well. They're $1 a slice. So we picked up a couple of those. So very good food. This is definitely a time of year to find a good fish fry near you. And even usually fish restaurants will have a decent deal on some Fridays there as well. So if you have a fish fry near you on a Friday, go and check that out. There's some really great stuff that you can get to eat at those. And that is my stamp of approval for this week.
And so it's funny as far as my stamp of approval. I wasn't thinking about food, but last week before I left Arlington, we went to, they had what's a Taste of the Town or whatever, the street food festival. And there is something, and so technically I will have 1.5 stamp of approvals. I had this thing.
Wow.
It was a burger. It was a burger on a croissant roll. And it had bacon, jam, and some sort of like burger sauce and cheese. It was one of the best burgers I've ever had. So I think the place was called Croissant, Maine. Like it's from the state of Maine. But yeah, so if you're around Maine, get yourself a croissant burger. It is fantastic. But the one that I actually had,
I was gonna say if it's French, that'd be French for croissant hand. So there you go.
slightly different meaning.
Yes.
Maybe I was looking at it wrong the whole time.
Yeah.
So the one that I had prepared to talk about, that one was just kind of impromptu, was March Madness, man. This is the only time of the year that I can think of, other than maybe like the first few days of the MLB playoffs, where there's just sports all day.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, basically from the time that noon or 1 o'clock rolls around, there'll just be sports from then till like, goodness knows when, 10, 11 o'clock, depending on how long the games go. But I mean, that we should do more of this. Like there should be sports on all the time, and, so I just really enjoy March Madness. Like I said, I'm very much a casual fan of college basketball until it gets to be March Madness. And then I would watch anybody. Like I would watch anybody play anybody. I just want it to be somewhat competitive. My Texas Longhorns got bounced unceremoniously in the first 4, but other than that, I mean, it's just a great tournament, and it's an even better marketing idea, and there's just nothing like March Madness. I look forward to it every year, and so we need to find a way to get sports on all day, most days.
I will say you can also add in New Year's Day for this with college football.
No, true.
I think you can make a case for it with Thanksgiving, because I mean, you don't have it like first thing in the morning or super late at night, but you get like 3 games in a row for football that day. And if you have access to a semi-legal streaming service, you could make yourself have sports all day if you don't mind watching stuff like Australian rules football and cricket from India and various European and African and South American soccer games and stuff. You could make that into a thing there. I mean, there's European hockey as well. I think I can actually watch like some Russian and Finnish hockey games if I wanted to, but there's ways you could make this happen if you really wanted to, and if you didn't mind a wide variety of sports and at maybe some fairly low level competitions in some case. Like I know I've seen like some U16 soccer from somewhere in Europe or something like that, but you could make this happen if you really want to. Just depends on your dedication to it. If you're looking for just the big 4 leagues, big 4 sports, or if you're willing to look at just about anything.
Yeah, let's get some cornhole going.
There is a pickleball channel.
I am unsurprised about that. Where was I? We were When we were staying in Plano, there was like this humongous pickleball place right across from us. And I've never played pickleball, but when we used to work at the Y, we would go back there. They had like courts for wall ball and all that kind of stuff. And so people were playing pickleball. So I've seen it played. Seems somewhat interesting, but I've never actually played it myself.
I want to get back into racquetball eventually. Just trying to find a court for that now has been very, very difficult, since it's like the YMCA's seem to have them, and even a lot of those have gotten rid of them. So Jen and I used to play it a little bit, but yeah, I liked it, and then we stopped because we didn't have a Y membership, and now it's like, I don't know where we can even find a place to play it now. So yeah, there you go. That is this week's stamp of approval here on TTM Cast as we move into the Vern Rapp Minute. The Vern Rapp Minute is dedicated to the memory of Mr. Vern Rapp, former Major League manager, former minor league ball player. Our show's founder, Jeff Baker, tried to mail to him and did not know that Mr. Rapp had already passed away. And so, to avoid that embarrassment that we all have experienced at some point or another in our lives, we offer this up to you every week to let you know who has passed away in the world of sports, celebrity, music, movies, politics. Anybody that you might consider TTMing, if they've passed away, we'll try to keep you updated on that info. First off, one that just came across as I was finishing up the rundown last night. Got this on my Facebook feed that George Foreman passed away. Of course, George Foreman is a boxer for 30 years of his career, 1967 to 1997. Two-time heavyweight champion, including at the age of 45, the oldest heavyweight champion in history. He also won gold at the 1968 Olympics. After his boxing career, and even kind of during his boxing career, he became an entrepreneur, did a lot of TV spots here and there, but of course was best known for the George Foreman lean, mean, fat-reducing grilling machine. And I think everybody, especially college students, have had one of those at one point in their lives because, I mean, it's the only way to be able to make any kind of, make a burger in your dorm room. I mean, if you're anything like my dorm, it was illegal to have one of those, but you found a way around it anyway. George Foreman was an excellent TTMer with the appropriate fee when he started charging in about the last 10 years or so of his life. He was 76 years old.
We also lost Jim Campbell at the age of 82. He was a pinch hitter with the 1970 St. Louis Cardinals. He had one career RBI, but that one career RBI tied a game in the 10th inning. So if you're gonna pick a time to get your one career RBI, that's a pretty good time to do it. And he was an excellent TTMer through June 2023.
We also lost Jim Brazil this week. He was a first baseman for several years, from 1969 to 78 for the Braves and the White Sox. About a 6-year gap in the time between the time when he played for the Braves and when he went to the White Sox. He's a career .223 hitter with 9 home runs, though, including 2 in a game on June 20th of 1978 against the Seattle Mariners. And I had to look this game up because it's like, all right, they ended up losing the game. He drove in the only 2 runs with solo home runs. He was 2 for 3 at the plate with 2 home runs. 9th inning, the White Sox are down 4-2. They get their first guy on, and who's coming to a plate next but Jim Brazil? 2 homers in this game. Seems like a perfect time for him. Bob Lemon lifts him for a pinch hitter. The Mariners then change pitchers. He then lifts the pinch hitter for another pinch hitter, and that guy grounds into a double play. You could not have possibly had Jim Brazil do anything worse. I mean, this guy with 2 home runs there, and the next guy they pinch hit for him, it grounds to a double play. Come on. That's probably part of the reason why Bob Lemon was fired 9 days later as the White Sox manager. So, but a great game for him there, at least on that one. Jim was excellent TTMer through December. He was 75 years old.
I love how we're re-adjudicating managers' decisions from like 50 years ago. So we also lost Kenneth Sims at the age of 65. He was a defensive end from 1982 to 1989 with the New England Patriots. He was the first overall pick in the 1982 draft, and he was an excellent TTMer through December.
Continuing on in football, we lost Bob Long this week. Bob was a wide receiver for the Packers, the Falcons, the Redskins, and the Rams. Two-time Super Bowl winner and three-time NFL champ with the Packers early on there throughout the mid-'60s. He was an excellent TTMer through December. He was 82 years old.
And we also lost Paul Flatley, who was a wide receiver from 1963 to 1970 with the Minnesota Vikings and the Atlanta Falcons. He was the 1963 Rookie of the Year and a 1966 Pro Bowler. And he was an excellent TTMer through September. And we lost him at the age of 84.
Lastly, from the basketball world, Slick Watts died this week. He was a point guard for the Seattle Supersonics, the New Orleans Jazz, and the Houston Rockets from 1973 to 1979. Always a fan favorite up in Seattle. He was associated with them all the way up until the Sonics moved. In 1975-76, he led the NBA in both assists and steals and was named to the All-Defensive Team. Slick was an excellent TTMer through 2021. He was 73 years old. If you lost anyone this week, our thoughts are certainly with you as we move on to our TTM returns.
Was our mailbox full this week? Let's take a look at this week's TTM returns.
Well, as I previewed early on, this has been a very slow week at the mailbox. Mine is completely empty, so I got to find some other ones to talk about for my article for Sports Collectors Daily this week. You can definitely try to write a few more out here and get those sent out. I actually have not bought any stamps in a while. I've got some in my box here, at least I can use, but definitely to restock on those, figure out who to send to, and start cranking a few out here once again. So that's all I've got. Aaron, what do you got here?
I was wondering when the gravy train was going to end. Some of those weeks, we had like 10, 12 returns. I was like, man. Mm-hmm. And so I guess I'm the lone return getter this week. So I got Larry Nance, who played for your Cleveland Cavaliers, kind of a regional icon. He was nice enough to sign three of three cards for me, and that is another one that goes back to that gigantic lot of cards we bought at the Dallas Card Show. So I'm plugging along. I'll have to figure out how many of those cards I've gotten signed, because it was definitely worth the $20 that we spent to buy that lot. But at some point, I'm gonna in a magical world where I've got a ton of free time, I'm going to sit down and figure out what the gains were and how much all the autographs cost me out of that. At that $20 that I've got. But yeah, Larry Nance, 3 of 3, the lone return, saving the show.
Yay!
This week.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to see what I can send out here. I know I've been sitting on this return to sender here from David Lau for a couple weeks now, and a friend of mine even updated me and said, hey, yeah, here's the new address for him. I'm like, cool, yeah, I'll get that sent out right away. And I'm here, 2 months later, still haven't done that yet. So, I got to get that one out. I know Todd Zeal has been signing lately, so I'll try to get him out. And a couple other guys I saw, too, that I was going to say, okay, yeah, I got to pull those. Brian Harvey was one of them. I've had bad luck on him, so I'll try him out again. But several others I need to try to write up and mail out here soon. And hopefully no more empty weeks here after this. So, yeah, we'll see what we can do on there. Well, that about wraps it up here for this week. Big thanks once again to Les Wolff joining us here in More from Les, Aaron for sitting in on the co-host seat as always, and for Ruthie Baker for providing all of our production work and sending this one from our mouths out to your ears. Aaron, any other thoughts before we go ahead and wrap this one up for the week?
It's always fun. Enjoy your March Madness. For at least a few more days, it's just going to be basketball all day, So enjoy that. One of a few times, as we've highlighted per year, that we just got sports out the wazoo. So enjoy that.
There you go. Not sure what we're gonna have on next week. It'll be the end of the month. Might see if we can get a person on for an interview here for just a Collector's Corner segment or something like that. Not really sure. We're kind of flying by the seat of our pants here for this month. But of course, after that, we're gonna have Clemente joining us on the first week of April. So he'll be 2 weeks from now. But in the meantime, we'll figure something out for next week. As of now, though, we're wishing you many happy returns. We'll see you next week here on TTM Cast.
Everyone, be good.